Let's talk about 3D layers inside of After Effects. I have a composition, I need a layer, so I'm going to create a shape. And on any layer, there are 5 standard transforms. This is anchor point, position, scale, rotation, and opacity. That's what we see here. Now, when we convert a layer into a 3D layer, all we do is we check this area, we check this box right here underneath the cube. And when we do that, we'll see that we gain more options under transform. It changes a little bit. So we click here. This layer is now a 3D layer, and we see that now we've gained a couple things. We've gained orientation. Orientation is which way this object is sitting in space. It doesn't change the position at all. And it's a little bit like rotation. Let me reset that. And in position, we see that we have our regular X value, our Y value, and then now we gain a Z value. And if you look, the anchor point has changed. We now have these handlebars, and if we hover over the handlebars, it'll give us a little letter next to the cursor that shows us which axis we're on. And if you wanted to move something like this, I want to move this just along the X axis. I wait for that little X to show up, and then I can move it only along the X axis. If I try to move it up and down, it won't do that because it's constraining the movement. And it's the same thing with the other values, Y and then Z. Z value, of course, is the depth. So I have X, Y, and Z. If I change this view to be the top view, then we can see kind of the default. And let me hit reset on this so it goes back to 965/40 and 0 depth. 0 is right in the middle. And if you want something to be closer to the camera, it's actually a negative value. So if I click and drag this down to be negative, you can see that it's actually moving closer. So if I switch this, instead of top view, if I go back to active camera, we can see that it's actually getting closer or further away. Negative numbers are closer to camera, positive numbers are further away from camera. So 0 is right in the middle. So X, Y, and Z. Scale, of course, now we can also scale things in X, Y, or Z. Now we have control over X, Y, and Z rotation. Before it was just Z rotation. When it's a 2D layer and you hit rotate, it just spins around, and that's spinning along the Z axis. As soon as you convert something into a 3D layer, now you can spin it along the X axis, along the Y axis, and along the Z axis. So let me reset those. We do also gain geometry and material options. Material options are how that layer interacts with lights. By default, it has cast shadows off. So if you do introduce lights into the scene, you'll probably want to go back to the material options and turn this to on. So that's just a basic overview of a 3D layer.